You know, I couldn't have thought of a better way to kickstart Bullshit Month than by talking about a bullshit decision. So thanks, Oscars! Hey guys, the Black Critic Guy. So I woke up a couple hours ago to drop my mom off to the airport, and while I was doing that, I saw this new video by Grace Randolph talking about some new changes that the Oscars committee was hoping to implement for their 91st Academy Awards telecast. Two of which I didn't really care much for, didn't really bother me that much, but one of them I found so idiotic and unnecessary that I was flabbergasted. And it's just a clear sign that the Oscars are so desperate for ratings that they'll do anything to get people to watch. And this is a fine example for it, and I am not a fan of it whatsoever. That's going to be the main topic of this video, much like it was for Grace's video. But the two, real quick to address the two that I don't really care much for. The first is that they're hoping to keep the telecast under 3 hours or around the 3-hour mark. They don't want it to stretch on for far too long like most of the other Oscar telecasts have been. And I'm okay with this decision, but personally, I don't really care that it went over the 3-hour mark, as long as it was entertaining enough to keep my attention. The problem isn't the length, it's the content within the length of the show. I agree with Grace in that regard. It's not about how long the show is, it's just that your material sucks most of the time. You have a few great moments here and there, but they're scattered throughout a 4-hour runtime, and most people aren't going to stick around to see one good thing in a 4-hour telecast. The second thing is that they're moving the date of the telecast forward about 2 or 3 weeks. They're gonna do it at the beginning of February instead of at the end of February, or like this year in March. Which again, I don't really care about. It doesn't matter when it airs, as long as it airs and I see it, I'm perfectly fine with that. But the main thing I want to address, which is the sole reason why I made this video to begin with, is the third and final change they hope to implement, which is creating a brand new category acknowledging best achievements in popular film, aka a best popular film category. Really? Oscars? Really? Oscars? Really? Oscars? Really? Oscars? You're going to sink to that low? You really want to pander that far to appeal to a wide audience, to get as many people to watch your telecast? Have we really gone this far? I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it right here, right now. This is the stupidest decision you guys have ever made. It's probably the worst decision you guys have ever made. And what you do is you lessen the pedigree of your actual ceremony. It's so baffling that they want to do something like this. I was so dumbfounded when I first heard the news. I thought it was a joke. And then no, I actually go look up IMDb, and there's a bunch of stories talking about it, listing out in plain sight. Yep, they want to make a best popular film category. That is literally the dumbest decision you guys have ever made. You know, a lot of people weren't a fan of you creating a best animated feature category, which I was personally fine with because I didn't feel like animated films ever got any sort of acknowledgement by the Oscars, so creating this little category for them was nice. Yeah, some people do feel like it's a bit pandering and they do feel like they don't really care much for it, which I do agree, and it breaks my heart that they don't put much weight to the best animated features category. But the fact that we do acknowledge animated features is a great thing, so I was okay with that. A lot of people were upset how you kept changing how many nominees can be in the Best Picture category. You started at 10 at the beginning, then you changed it to 5, then you changed it back to 10, and then you changed it between 5 and 10. You just met in the middle. And I was perfectly fine with that as well. But I mean, we've reached a whole new low. three reasons why I personally feel like this is the stupidest decision the Oscars has ever made. Number one, it's basically Best Animated Features 2.0. A lot of people, like I mentioned before, have a big problem with the Best Animated Features category because it feels like a meaningless award and it doesn't have much weight or pedigree like the other awards later on in the night. And again, they don't really pick which is the best animated feature, they just pick the one that was the most popular. Hell, you could almost argue that the animated feature category is a best popular film category because they don't even pick the best animated film. Most of the time, the best animated film does not win the best animated feature category. Basically, what I'm trying to say here is that when they implement the best popular film category, they're going to handle it, or should I say mishandle it, the same way they did with the Best Animated Feature category, where the winner will be chosen not due to their merits plus their popularity, it's solely because of how much money they made or how popular they are with audiences. It's really not a Best in Show award, it's a popularity contest if you think about it. And at the end of the day, no matter who wins the award, it's gonna come off as a cheap, meaningless award that most people will not acknowledge, recognize, or even hold to such a high regard. Much like the winners of the Best Animated Feature category. Most people don't hold those guys to such high regard, nor do they really care about it. If anything, they feel more or less that it's a consolation prize. Like, oh, you weren't good enough to be nominated for Best Picture, but hey, you were the best animated feature, but hey, you were the best popular film, so here's your Oscar statuette. Don't you feel proud of yourself? Don't pat yourself on the back. You did such a great job. And speaking of that, that leads me to my second reason. This dilutes the Best Picture category, because now you have a conundrum. You have Best Popular Film, and you have the Best Picture. When that happens, you have people who are in the Best Popular Film category wondering to themselves, well, if we got nominated for Best Popular Film, why couldn't we also be nominated for Best Picture? I mean, we're being judged on our merits here, right? Not just because it's a popularity contest, which again, you're going to need to explain it. Your little Best Popular Film category is very vague right now. It needs to be fleshed out more because this brings up another interesting question. What constitutes a popular film? Because there have been other films in the past that have been nominated for Best Picture that you could argue were popular films. Some of them did get nominated because they were popular, but some, they got nominated for legitimate reasons. La La Land in 2017, when it got nominated, was in itself a popular film. It grossed $300 million worldwide. It was one of the most popular musicals in the last 5 years. So you can argue that it is a popular film. So does it belong in both categories? And if it wins Best Popular Film, it probably won't win the Best Picture, which makes it pretty upset. But going back to my main point, there's going to be a lot of people in the Best Popular Film category saying, well, if I'm going to be nominated for Best Popular Film, why can't I also be nominated for Best Picture? And then you got people in the Best Picture category saying, well, if we're going to be nominated for Best Picture, why can't we be also nominated for popular film? I mean, we got this far, people notice us, we must be popular, right? It kind of goes back, and I'm going to make a sports comparison. I apologize to all of you who don't care about sports, but there's this woman named Rachel Nichols who hosts a show called The Jump. And for the last 2 years, she's been making this vocal push to create a Best NBA Player category and also an MVP. And I watched this other guy on YouTube called Chronicles of Judea, and he makes a really great point that this is a stupid decision. That would be a stupid idea to create a Best Player award and an MVP award, because the best player is going to say, like, why was I nominated for Best Player, or why did I win the Best Player but I'm not the MVP? And the MVP is going to be like, how am I the MVP but I'm not the best player? It's just that whole confusion. It's a conundrum. Because if you're the MVP, that must mean you're the best player in the league. And if you're the best player in the league, hell, you can make an argument that you are the MVP. You are the most valuable player. And that's the same conundrum here. If you're in the Best Popular Film category, you would probably think, since you're being nominated for an Oscar, that you're worthy enough to be nominated for Best Picture, right? And if you're in the Best Picture category, you think that you've been acknowledged enough to the point where you are sort of a popular film. Now you could argue, yeah, maybe, you know, if you didn't gross more than 100 million at the box office, you're not really that popular of a film. But then again, you need to clarify what constitutes a popular film. There's a lot of confusion between the two categories, and it dilutes the Best Picture category. In fact, it dilutes the entire award show. Which then leads me to my third and final reason why this is a stupid ass decision. Because when you whittle it all down, it's just pandering bullshit. It's just a ratings grab. They think, oh, if we nominate popular films, people will tune in because they want to see whether or not their favorite film that they saw this year will win the Oscar. But really, when you get down to it, really think about it, the Oscars is not really for the main populace. It's for people who are fans of filmmaking, who actually celebrate the art of film, not for the casual person that goes watch film. Because they don't appreciate this shit. But we do. Cater to us. Why are you trying to cater to the biggest demographic? They don't give a shit about best editing. They don't give a shit about sound mixing. But people that are actually aspiring to be filmmakers, we do. We care about it. And by putting in a best popular film category, it's just you saying, well, we don't really care much for our niche audience. We don't really care much about the aspiring filmmakers, the people who are actually passionate about filmmaking and want to see the personalities behind their favorite films. So what we care about is getting the largest audience to come see our telecast. And really, at the end of the day, it's kind of insulting. It's a spit in the face to those who actually care about the art of filmmaking. God, I almost lost my voice there for a second. I guess I just got so frustrated by this news that my voice couldn't take the amount of bullshit I was speaking. But really, those are the three reasons why I think that this is a stupid ass decision. One, they're gonna mishandle it like they did the Best Animated Feature category, which has waned in the last few years. No one treats that award seriously anymore. Two, it dilutes the Best Picture category and it causes some confusion between Best Picture and Best Popular Film, because they're gonna fight amongst each other saying, how am I the best picture but I'm not the best popular film, or how am I the most popular film or the best popular film but I wasn't nominated for Best Picture whatsoever. I didn't even have a chance. It was gonna cause such a confusion between the two. And third, it's just pandering bullshit. It was an executive move to get more people to watch the telecast. And really, if you just made the show better, more people would watch it. Again, it's not about the length, it's not about who you're nominating, it's about making great content. It's about making a good show. If you make a good show, people will tune in. It's not about the nominations. Like, if you want to make an argument that it's about nominations, why then, when Inception was nominated, it didn't have high ratings? It didn't. It didn't even crack like the top 5 in high ratings. So just because you nominate a bunch of popular films does not guarantee you more viewership. It doesn't guarantee that more people will tune into the telecast, especially if the content in the telecast is boring, dull, and uninteresting. Work on your content. That's the weakest point. Your nominees, some of them, yes, they are frustrating, but most are pretty good. Most feel very deserving. Sometimes I do feel like you missed the mark with some of them, but you know, that's a give and take right there. You know, some win, some don't. Some get snubbed, others get recognized, and I'm totally fine with that. But work on the content. That's how you get more people to tune in. Not by throwing in a bunch of popular films, because you dilute the pedigree of your actual ceremony. You dilute the weight of receiving an Academy Award. It's a prestigious award, damn it! Not everybody gets an Academy Award. If everybody got one, why is it special then? Just leave it alone. The formula is fine. The only thing that needs to be tweaked, again, is the content. Work on your content. Work on making the telecast fun, engaging, and interesting. That's how you make more people tune in, not by throwing in more popular films. Anyway, I think I'm done rambling now. What do you guys think of the decision of them putting in a Best Popular Film category. Comment below, let me know. I'm slowly but surely working on my first anime review for Bullshit Month. It'll hopefully be out this weekend, I'm not sure. I'm planning on seeing Slender Man, so hey, you will be getting a Bullshit Month review real soon. And as always guys, if you'd like to see more videos on this channel, be a part of the Black Critic crew, please hit that subscribe button below. Like this video if you really enjoyed it. I'm 21 seconds, super frustrated at the Academy as the Black Critic Guy. Till then, peace YouTube.
We saw your boobs. We saw your boobs. In the movie that we saw your boobs. Meryl Streep, we saw your boobs in Silkwood. Naomi Watts in Mulholland Drive.